Yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach, and welcome back to my crochet channel. Now this is our second snowflake pattern in our Christmas in July of 2023, and I think it is absolutely adorable and fun. It's basically a hexagon coaster. We added some little picot stitches on the points to give it sort of a snowflake look, and then we embroidered a snowflake right in the center. Now it measures about 6 by 6 inches, so it's a really nice size for any size cup, glass, goblet, or mug. It's a really easy and simple pattern, and you can find the complete pattern with pictures as always on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. To make our snowflake coaster, you can make it out of cotton like this red one, or you can make it out of acrylic like this one. I do recommend, if you're going to put hot coffee or maybe glasses that might spill a little bit, that you use the cotton, because the cotton is absorbent, but both of them will protect your wooden or acrylic surfaces, or whatever surface you're going to put that on. They still will protect that surface, whether it's cotton or acrylic. And also, these make great appliques, and they also just make great decorations or ornaments. So you can use this pattern for lots of things. I'm going to be using cotton today for our demonstration. I'm going to use this green cotton that I already have on hand, and this white cotton from Premier, just cotton. I'm going to do a green one with the white, the same. And it takes less than an ounce of both, very little amount of yarn. But we need to stick with medium weight number 4 yarns for this project. We're going to be stitching with our H hook, which is a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook, and then you need a needle and a pair of scissors. So I've got my green yarn. I'm going to start with my slip knot. I'm going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to join this into a circle, snug that down, and tie that stay knot. Now, if you would prefer to use the magic circle or another method to make your circle, you certainly can. We're going to pull up and chain 3. Then we're going to stitch a double crochet and chain 2. Now we're going to stitch 5 more sets of 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and chain 2. And this will give us our base for our hexagon shape. Two double crochets, chain 2. All right, let's see how many I've stitched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need one more set of 2 double crochets, chain 2. 1 and 2. Chain 2. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch. Then we'll slip stitch in that next double crochet. Oops, got a little splitty there. There we go. And then slip stitch in that chain 2 space and stitch a chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now before we go any farther, we want to gently pull on that string. There we go. If you open up the ends like that and then flatten it over your needle, it makes it really easy to get on your needle. There we go. All right, so we're just going to weave this in. Make sure we close up that hole. Go back and forth so it holds securely. And then we'll go ahead and just clip that off. Then we don't have to worry about that one. All right, so for round 1, we have 6 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 2. All right, let's do round 2. Our chain 3 counts as a double crochet. We're going to double crochet in that chain 2 space and chain 2, and then double crochet 2 more times in that chain 2 space. Now we're going to go to the next chain 2 space and stitch 2 double crochets. 1, 2, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. And so this is what we're doing in each of those 6 chain 2 spaces. 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. We'll repeat that in these last 3, then join back to our chain 3. I have completed round 2. We have 6 sets of 2 double crochet, chain 2, and 2 double crochets. We're going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch. We're going to slip stitch in that next double crochet, and then slip stitch in the chain 2 space. And now we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This chain 5 counts as a double crochet, chain 2. And now we're just going to place 1 double crochet in that chain 2 space. Now we're going to stitch a double crochet in these 4 double crochets. 2, 3, and 4. This brings us to our next chain 2 space. So in this next chain 2 space, we're going to stitch a double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. And then we'll stitch 1 double crochet in each of those 4 double crochets. And what we're doing here is making a solid row of double crochet around the edge. And so we'll continue to repeat double crochet, chain 2, double crochet in the chain 2 spaces, and 1 double crochet in each of those 4 on the sides all the way around, and then we'll join back to the chain 3 of our chain 5. So I have repeated that all the way around. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of 6 double crochets, so 36 double crochets. We're going to join to the 3rd chain, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch in that chain 2 space. Only this time we're only going to chain 1 because we're going to do a row of single crochets. So what we're going to do in this first chain 2 space, we're going to stitch 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of these 6. There's 3, 4, 5, 6. That brings us to our chain 2 space, and we'll stitch 3 single crochets. 1, 2, 3. Now we're on the next side, and we'll stitch 1 single crochet in each of those 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This gives us a nice row of single crochets around the edge, and we'll continue to repeat this, working all the way around. 3 single crochets in the chain 2 space and 1 single crochet in each of those 6. I completed this row of single crochets. We have 3 single crochets in each of our 6 chain 2 spaces, and then in each of those 6 stitches. We're going to join to that first single crochet and then slip stitch in the next so that we're in the center of that point or corner. We're going to cut our yarn, and I've got it on this gold mat because we're going to be working with the white yarn again. I want you to be able to see what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to bring in our white. All the way there. And we're going to single crochet right in that same stitch. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then slip stitch in that single crochet. And then again, single crochet in that same stitch. And that's going to give us that little picot stitch or bump at the top. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to single crochet in each of those double crochets, working to the next center of the next point. My mat was slipping a little bit there. All right, so here's those 3 single crochets. I'm going to single crochet in the first one and then single crochet in that center one. We'll chain 3. We'll slip stitch in the top of that single crochet and then single crochet again in that same stitch. And then again, we'll single crochet to the next point of our coaster. And see how that looks? Isn't that cool? I like it. I like the way that it looks. It gives it a little bit of a snowflake effect. So there's our 3. So we'll single crochet in the first one, single crochet in the center one, chain 3, slip stitch in that single crochet, and then single crochet in that same stitch. And then again, we'll single crochet to the next point. And we'll continue this all the way around and join back to our first single crochet. I've completed this last row, and I really just love the way those picot stitches look. Here's my last single crochet. I'm going to join to that next single crochet with a slip stitch. I'm going to cut my yarn, and then I'm going to take my hook through the back and pull that loop to the back so we have a nice looking finish, and snug that down. We'll tie those off in just a second, but I want you to see how that looks. Isn't that beautiful? I just love it. Now you could leave it like that. It's super cute, but I want to add the snowflake in the center. So I'm going to take a few minutes and get these ends weaved in, and then I'm going to show you how to add that snowflake to the center. All right, I'm going to do this in a couple of steps. We're going to be using the center and then the lines of our hexagon in order to form our snowflake. All right, so I'm going to come up through the middle, and I'm going to leave a little bit on the back. And you'll probably have to hold that so it doesn't slide out. And I'm going to come up here like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and come up like that. And that's the first side of our snowflake. So then what I'll do is I'll come back down here to the center because I want to try to make the least amount of strings in the back as possible. All right, so now I'm going to skip this one and go to this one, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now what I do is I go through these 2 stitches here like this, because if you just go through the hole, you're going to lose your stitch. It's just going to slide right in there. All right, and then I'll use that stitch as a guide. And I try to get through some of the fiber and some of the stitches. Back over there. All right, now you'll notice there's a little white line across there. So when I'm coming to the back, I'm going to grab that and I'm going to pull that down because I'm going to come right back up through the center, and that's going to make that come down. Now that's happening because of my beginning tail. All right, and then I'll do that again. I'll skip this one and do it on this third one. All right, so I'm going to come up here, go through there. I'm going to make those little pointed edges. And I'm going to make my needle grab that that's going across. And so that's what I do first. I do those 3. All right, so I've done those 3, and I want to do 3 more, but I want to make them just a little bit longer, okay? So from here, I'm going back to the center. Only this time, instead of coming here, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go right in the bottom of there. Make sure I go in through some of the stitches, and I'll make that little V. And you'll also notice I'm starting to run out of yarn at this point, so I'm going to have to bring in another piece of yarn. And I'm again going to grab that piece that's going across. Might be easier if I go ahead and do that first. This isn't complicated. You're just going to have to take your time. All right, I don't see it's down in there, so I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to come back down here, and I'm just going to go through a couple of stitches just to hold that there. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie a knot just to hold that, because I'm going to have to add in another piece of yarn. All right. But what you'll do is you'll do what we did here on these other 2 sides. So now I've finished the longer 3, and I have 3 shorter ones. Now you can do them all the same if you want to. You can do them all short, you can do them all long. It's up to you how you do that portion. And you could leave it like this if you wanted to, but I want to add those extra little pieces in the middle. All right, so I'm going to come back down in the middle. I'm just going to add some little extra lines, and I like to just kind of go like that. Make sure I'm going through a stitch, and then we'll come right back up through the middle. We're just adding some extra lines, and the amount of lines you add is up to you. And I like doing this because I think it helps it stay a little bit secure and helps those other strands stay put, and it just gives it just a little bit more pizzazz and sparkle. And I just put one in between each, but you don't have to. You can do it how you want, and you can make some of them longer, some of them shorter. And I just do one in each of the spaces between. So now I've completed the green one. I tidied up the back. And you have to weave those in very carefully because you don't want any of that to have any extra spots of white showing through that look off on the red and the blue and the green. All right, I love these. I think I'm going to make a yellow one also. That way I'll have a set of 4 and one of each color. I really love them. They're nice big size for big mugs and goblets with big bases on the bottom, or glasses, cups of cocoa. So this is our Snowflake Coaster. Fun new pattern release for our Christmas in July 2023. I hope you'll enjoy making some.